baru lah.
Okay.
Okay.
13 lah.
13.
Okay.
Tapi 6 mana cukup.
Can I proceed?
Ya lah, saya hari ni 6. Sebab saya
Can I proceed?
Ya, boleh puan. Teruskan. Yang lain-lain boleh bantu
Alright.
mute dulu ya.
Okay, back to the office. I'm managing indoor air quality. I nak buat disclaimer sikit. I pun bukan expert sangat. I pun masih belajar. Especially dengan pandemic, there's a lot of new things. Ada yang I nampak with recently, especially bila I buat recent study. Ada yang actually what we thought it will be effective, but actually it's not effective at all for certain area. Okay, the indoor air quality, what is the definition? So, the definition under Industrial Code of Practice is an indoor air environment that is served by a mechanical ventilation where there is a place of work. Okay, yang kat atas tu I just extract few saja where there is a place of work. So tadi I believe Cik Mazlan ada explain sikit pasal guideline kan. For your information, Industrial Code of Practice is a legal bind ya. Legal bind whereby it can be penalty if you are not bind to these particular regulations. Sebab dia support by OSHA 1994. Okay, so dekat EPA, IAQ ni sebenarnya dia dah rate as top 5 environmental risk to public health. So dia sebenarnya 2 to 5 times worse daripada outdoor air. 50% of the illness caused by the aggravated of indoor air pollution. So when you talk about indoor air pollution, last time we only have few, but now with coming pandemic issues, we have lots of issues dengan virus. So part of it, we look into the sporadic case. Sporadic case, basically we don't know where is the root of infection. We cannot belong to another cluster, and then biasanya dia ni memang terpencil ataupun rawak lah. So since May 2021, 80% daripada jumlah kes memang sebenarnya sudah ada sporadic. Okay, how it been transmitted to the air? I bagi dua situation here when comes to the COVID. Satu outdoor, satu lagi dekat indoor. Kalau you nampak the red dot tu, if you look into, okay, dalam wind direction kalau you dekat outdoor okay, katalah in between person, okay, you ada distance kan, within a meters of it, so you sebenarnya untuk you dispose sangat kurang berbanding dengan indoor. Sebab dalam indoor, the contaminations of the infection tu, they linger in the air. It really relies on your ventilation. Kalau you nampak dekat atas ni. So that's the difference between outdoor and indoor. Lagi satu pasal outdoor, we also have lots of confounding factors yang can spread ataupun can kill the microorganisms. Contohnya you punya cahaya matahari, UV light, air movement, your temperature, part of it. Kenapa? There's a study yang conducted by researchers where temperatures ni dia akan reduce the city loads of the microorganisms. Okay, on top of ICOP, sebenarnya di Malaysia kita also refer to the ASHRAE standard. So we always refer to the ASHRAE standard 55, ASHRAE standard 62, and kita juga ada ASHRAE standard for ventilation of healthcare facilities. That's why kalau you tengok latest requirement by KKM yang baru ni yang dikeluarkan bersama-sama dengan Kementerian Sumber Manusia, it always refer and define for each of the area punya practical. So kalau you tengok dekat residence ada dia punya guidance sendiri. Okay, dekat residential punya area, high rise pun ada dia punya sendiri. Healthcare pun ada dia punya sendiri. Public places pun ada dia punya guideline sendiri. So this is our Malaysia Industrial Code of Practice in indoor air quality punya environment. Can I just ask whether berapa ramai yang pernah tengok ni? I sebenarnya some of the participant I rasa I kenal belum juga pernah. Tu ada yang belum pernah. Okay, Industrial Code of Practice actually dalam indoor air quality is gazetted 2010 and jabatan yang bertanggungjawab is JKKP by Kementerian Sumber Manusia. So this particular guidance on code tata amalan industri dipanggil dalam bahasa Melayu ataupun Industrial Code of Practice basically is lingered under the OSHA Act 1995. Okay, So this is another guidelines coming from the same department. So guideline on the control of mold contamination and remediation. Again, this one is supposed to support our ICOP. Okay. And latest that you can see is the guidance on the ventilation node and indoor air quality. If you look into the requirement recently on SOP, PN tak silap I, there is a requirement you have to maintain the indoor air quality kan. So why Julai 2021 sebenarnya Kementerian Sumber Manusia dan KKM, they come out with a guidance. Okay, each of the industry macam yang cakap tadi, healthcare dah ada, non-residential ni pun ada, residential ni pun ada. So here they put up what is the requirement for you to maintain the indoor air quality and the ventilation specifically during pandemic. ICOP yang biasa dulu dia tak fully coverage for pandemic. Kenapa ICOP yang biasa ni kita kena keluarkan yang baru? Sebab sebelum ni ICOP tak cover resident area. Okay. So IAQ issue in Malaysia, sebelum ni we having lots of problems with moldy buildings where we have high humidity, leaking problem, flood, smoking in indoor environments, cool offices, lots of thermal comfort issues, chemical emissions, especially off-gassing from the new building material. But I think with the KETA punya requirement and green building punya requirement recently, this issue is quite alarming and it been reduced daripada material. Another issues that we have is the split unit. Okay, kenapa split unit becoming an issue is the fresh air leaking. So latest issue that we have in Malaysia, pandemic management for COVID punya transmission in the indoor air setting. So the application of ICOP sebelum ni, they apply to all buildings. Okay, where is totally enclosed, which is served by MVAC, mechanical ventilation air conditioning system, including the air cool punya split, where there is person at work. So they cover domestic, any area of the building which is construct, used or intend to be used for domestic, dia tak cover. Okay, domestic building dia tak cover. Okay, any area yang dalam bangunan where you have hazardous chemicals also dia tak cover. Or you use the building for analytical purposes. Removal and disposal of asbestos containing material. Ini sebelum pandemic. But during pandemic now, you can use the same ICOP plus the guidance yang baru untuk this particular building, sebab tu dia keluarkan the guidance on the residential punya area. Okay. To ensure the IAQ and ventilation meet the requirement. So kat mana and kenapa kita kena follow the ICOP? Okay, it covers under OSHA section 15 where employer shall ensure as far as practicable the safety, health and welfare at work for his employee, termasuklah dia punya contractors. Okay, section 17 other than dia punya employees, yang ini refer to public building whereby you ada visitors. Okay, bila you ada visitors, section 17 ni terpakai. Okay. And then section 18, occupier, siapa yang manage ataupun control of the workspace. So this is another issue that you have to look into. Kalau you are renting out your building to someone else, building management ataupun facilities management, the facilities management is responsible to taking care of the IAQ and ventilation in the particular buildings. Okay, so this particular sections under OSHA 1994 sebenarnya terpakai di dalam ICOP. Sebab tu it's not just a guidance, you have to comply with the issues of the IAQ under OSHA 1994. Okay, the parameters of the ICOP. So kalau you tengok the parameters of the ICOP before, so the air temperature it range from 23 to 26 degrees. Okay, the relative humidity it goes from 40 to 70, but when it comes to energy you akan nampak is coming from 35 to 65 dia ada plus minus kat situ. Air movement 0.15 to 0.5 meter per second. Okay, for this particular physical standard limitation, sebelum ni we only follow the ventilation rate daripada ASHRAE. instead of we are using the IAQ. Sebab IAQ sebelum ni untuk ventilation rate tak ada. So reference yang ini bawah MS 1525 2001 and code of practice on the energy efficiency and renewable energy untuk non-residential buildings. So table 2 pula, okay, be careful dekat table 2 ni. Kenapa I mention about table 2? Kalau you nampak dia ada 5 element chemical contamination. Okay, 1 to 5. Okay, this carbon monoxide, dia punya threshold is 10 ppm. Formaldehyde is 0.1 ppm. Ozone 0.05. Respirable particulate is 0.15 mg per meter cube. Total volatile organic compound 3. So these 5 particular elements is basically you could not be exceed this particular threshold within 8 hour time weighted average. Maksud dia dalam 8 jam you bekerja, you cannot exceed this threshold. Okay, so next is the biological contaminants. The biological contaminant, total bacteria and total fungi. So for total bacteria is 500 CFU colony form per unit per meter cube. Total fungi unit is 1000 CFU per meter cube. Okay, I just want to highlight here. In the event if there is any exceeding biological contamination, it doesn't mean that your area having an issues of outbreak. Okay. Why? Sometimes what you have to do, you have to compare your total bacteria count and total fungi count with your outside air instead of you just doing it with the threshold limit comparison. Okay. Another critical, hello? Is there any questions?
Apa ni? Handphone?
Minta tolong mute ya, siapa yang cakap tu.
Okay.
Bisa.
Okay. So kalau you nampak ventilation performance indicator, carbon dioxide, very crucial for you to identify the ventilation rate.
Tekan detail ni, tekan ni.
Okay, so carbon dioxide being used as a ventilation indication. Apa beza ventilation performance indication ni untuk carbon dioxide dengan 5 elemen ni tadi? 5 elemen ni kita punya comparison based on your working hours, 8 hour time weighted average. But for carbon dioxide, you nampak tak ada C kat depan ni? Shilling limit 1000. Okay, kalau shilling limit 1000 ni dia bermaksud shilling limit yang should not be exceed at any working hours. Maksud dia daripada jam pertama, jam kedua, jam ketiga tu you tak boleh exceed 1000. Okay, apa limitation dengan kita punya IAQ? Sebab dekat sini kita tak pernah ada pandemik. Pandemik ni jadi 100 tahun sekali. Okay, dia tak ada threshold dengan biological hazard precisely untuk COVID-19 virus. So kalau as a researcher, as an expert, we address it as a Siti value. Sebab apa Siti value ni? Kadar kebolehan mikroorganisma ni untuk virus load to cause an infection. That's why bila kita buat sampling in the air, kita akan tengok the Siti value. Okay. Okay, for those yang biasa dengan hospitals. Okay, untuk hospitals ni macam saya cakap tadi pun sebenarnya bawah KSM, bawah KKM, they have a different guidance untuk healthcare ya. I won't touch here in detail, mungkin next session. Tapi here before COVID pun sebenarnya kita dah ada guideline on the conceptual design and engineering requirement untuk CSSU. And then untuk fungus punya avoidance in healthcare facilities. This guidance is very good. Kalau you all tengok dia even bagi you what is delta T in between you punya temperature supply setting dengan you punya chill water system. All of this is actually stated in this particular guidance. Okay. Dan guidance on the conceptual design and engineering requirement untuk isolation room pun ada. Kenapa? Dekat sini ada requirement on the pressure difference. Okay, dekat sini ada requirement on the temperature setting. Okay, the ventilation setting. All of this is stated in this particular requirement for healthcare. And then lagi satu kita ada guidance on the mold control and remediations. Okay, dalam healthcare facilities. So basically dalam healthcare ni sebenarnya dia dah complete. Okay, saya suka buat healthcare sebab healthcare is a clear cut punya situation where I have everything in hands. Tapi kalau dalam bangunan, kalau dekat offshore facilities, for me is quite challenging sebab offshore dia akan guna IMO, International Marine Organization punya standard. Okay, kalau you tengok normal building, kita akan cross reference dengan KETA, okay, energy, kita akan cross reference dengan ASHRAE, kita also akan cross reference juga dengan some guidelines daripada luar. Some contoh, certain bangunan, I bagi contoh Legionella saja. Kat Malaysia kita tak ada standard on Legionella tapi dekat overseas ada. Singapore ada standard, Australia ada their own standard, UK ada their own standard. So certain building manager, they are following their mother company punya SOP. So daripada situ kita akan buat the comparison. Sebab in Malaysia tak ada. So bila in the event you tak ada the guideline ataupun requirement in Malaysia, you can adopt to the best practice. Okay, sama juga macam what we do dengan ventilation in specific. Macam I highlight tadi, I highlight lagi sekali. So dalam IAQ ni biasanya I akan refer balik kepada ASHRAE standard. So kita ada ASHRAE standard 55 untuk tu mengconvert. Untuk indoor air quality precisely kita ada 62 tapi dia ada latest version 2017 tak silap saya. And then kita ada juga ventilation untuk healthcare facilities Okay. Untuk ventilation, apa yang dimaksud dengan ventilation is a process of you supply air and remove air from the space for the purpose of controlling the air contamination level, humidity or temperature within the space. Okay, the concept is they dilute the contaminant, they remove the contaminant and then one of the multiple method dekat dalam IAQ issue ni in the building. So dalam case pandemic management, whether you nak contain ataupun you nak purge the ventilation concept ni, there's two different things. The problem dengan our building nowadays, sebelum isu COVID pun sebenarnya kita ada issues dengan ventilation Saya akan kongsikan saya punya study, my PhD work dalam 100 bangunan sebenarnya what is our identification and our result. Okay, kalau you tengok ni ASHRAE standard sebelum ni ASHRAE standard sebelum ni untuk office space, okay, dia kata you can go to 5 liter per second and reception area to 30 liter per second. So but this one, kalau you tengok, not ni 5 8.5 dengan 3.5. So latest Dosh bagi tahu dia kata you have to comply dengan 10 liter per second. Okay. So this is the minimum ventilation rate. Yang ini ada dekat dalam ASHRAE standard ni. This is what you have to comply now. Bezanya kalau sebelum ni 7, now the requirement is 10. Okay, current IAQ issue in Malaysia. This is my study, my PhD work. Okay, dalam 100 bangunan, I categorize high rise, low rise using natural, split unit and also centralized. So 42% having problem dengan inadequate ventilation. 10% daripada contamination from the building, whereby macam mana it been identified the contamination coming from the activities. I bagi contoh activities macam mana yang can give you the contamination in the indoor air setting. Pest control. Okay. Another issues if you are doing painting. Okay, if you are changing renovation of your carpet or you are doing chemical cleaning for your carpet. So this is all the requirements this is all the contamination activities can generate the off gases. Okay. 12% daripada ambient air. So biasanya yang ni kalau katalah dekat luar ni ada haze kan, ataupun your surrounding is a factory area. So you cannot anticipate you punya indoor air quality tu bagus bila you punya source of air tu pun dah ada contamination. That's why dalam, kalau you biasa dengan environment, you ada boundaries untuk EIA. This is the things kenapa EIA itu penting, sebab we need to look and model on the air contamination daripada industrial area. Okay, and 15% contamination daripada fungus dengan Legionella. Okay, in Malaysia quite common. Okay, bangunan yang saya identify ni even though high rise tapi dia punya level of humidity very high. So they also having an issues dengan fungus. Another issues that coming from fungus, dia punya building punya material leaking and also dia punya waterproofing dah gone. Contamination from the building fabric. Okay, building fabric ni quite critical juga, especially dengan old building. Kalau you nampak building fabric ni, apa isu dengan building fabric? I bagi contoh you all punya ducting insulation bila koyak. Okay, glass wool tu bila dia koyak dia akan spread the fiber. Dan carpet bila dah terlampau lama, lebih 10 tahun, dia also akan contamination on the fiber punya issues in the indoor air setting. Another issues that you will look into is asbestos. Bangunan yang lama-lama, bangunan yang tahun 70-an, some of the material memang ada asbestos. So bila kita nampak this particular issue, I pernah buat study in government building, bangunan lama, Wisma Persekutuan, memang kita identify that as asbestos. Okay, dekat pintu, dekat ceiling, dekat insulation dia. Dan 17% is unknown sources. Kenapa unknown sources? Kalau you nampak dengan unknown sources ni, the issues dia dengan unknown sources ni sometimes people. That's why they indicate sick building syndrome. Okay, and then some more contoh-contoh issues on non-ionizing radiations. Okay ke so far?
Okay Puan. Okay. Terang dan jelas.
Okay, how you going to control especially dengan musim-musim COVID ni kan? Okay, ada certain places COVID-19 ni can be spread more easily. Kat mana? That's why dia kata 3C tu. Crowded places, okay, close contact setting, confined and enclosed spaces. So yang untuk kita hari ni, I nak highlight dekat item number 3 ni. Confined and enclosed spaces. 1 and 2 ni, you sendiri in terms of administrative, I rasa building managers, okay, kita sendiri punya awareness, we can see, okay, kalau katalah kedai tu punya owner bagi tahu, okay, maximum 5 occupant at one time. Sekarang ni dah banyak kan signage macam tu kan. Tolonglah follow sebab semalam ke I pergi grocery store. Stated dekat depan tu 5 minimum visitors at one time. Tapi bila I tengok dekat muka pintu tu dah lebih daripada 12. So I memang tak masuk sebab I tahu there is a crowded places. Okay, kalau boleh as a person we need to have that awareness lah. Close contact setting, kenapa kena ada social distancing? Okay, yang ini memang kena buat, especially kita dah nak masuk office sekarang. So this have to be implement straightly, and also facilities management, individu, I rasa semua orang contribute to this. Confined and enclosed spaces ni memang related dengan you all punya ventilation. Current control measures, so you all kena follow dengan government punya requirement yang baru ni juga. Mask memang perlu, kita memang tak boleh lari daripada tu. And then you kena stay 6 feet apart, you kena avoid crowd. Kenapa? Yang ini bahaya sikit sebab apa? For a building owner, for facilities management, so kita kena ada additional control measures for the engineering control and get vaccination. Okay, kalau you tengok wear a mask, stay 6 feet apart dengan get vaccine ni, semua ni individual punya responsibility. Avoid crowds ni, dia ada intervene daripada third party. So yang ini yang sebenarnya kita kena look into. Okay, saya tadi ada bagi stated pasal virus load tadi. Okay, kalau you nampak dekat virus load, okay, ni dia buat study based on the temperature dengan relative humidity. Okay, kalau you nampak with 19 to 22 with good ventilation dekat sini, dia punya aerosol time 90 minit, survival rate ni non-reactive, tapi dia punya decay time tu, okay, decay time ni kalau you tengok lambat. Yang ini half life dia quite high. Compared to this one, humidity dia lagi tinggi. Okay, decay time dia 0.4 rendah, tapi half life dia sangat tinggi. So this is the things yang I cakap bila COVID kita tak ada threshold. What we look into dia punya decay time, survival rate, half life of the microorganisms. Okay. Okay, kalau you nampak dekat dalam indoor environment, okay, I just nak highlight daripada 110 case yang involve 11 cluster, Dia start dengan one personnel pergi fitness gym. Dekat gym ni close space dengan poor ventilation, crowded space, and dia ada close contact sebenarnya. That's why dia positif. Lepas tu dia pergi ke restoran boat punya festival. Daripada situ dia pergi ke recreational healthcare facilities. Kalau you tengok dekat sini, these cases memang link one to another. That's why Japan punya study bila dia tengok this particular cases, sebab daripada 110 tu dia involve 11 cluster baru So dia punya recommendation, dia kata untuk ventilation rate you kena comply 17.65 CFM per person untuk prevent the COVID punya 19 clusters. So yang ini untuk you punya ventilation, dia fall under which category? Biasanya dekat dalam business risk category kita ada low to high. So this one is under engineering control. So that's why dia kata engineering control fall under healthy building. Kalau you perasan yang ini banyak dah keluar. Ventilation part 1.
Saya nak tanya sikit lah Puan, saya tak puas hati.
Boleh.
Puan, slide yang RH tu kan, yang tadi tu sekejap.
Yep. TD load ke?
RH ni. So maksudnya kadar kelembapan adakah dia bergantung juga penyebaran COVID ni macam mana? Dia punya RH level tu maksudnya
surviving dia.
At low RHO ke ataupun high RH?
High RH. You tengok dia punya decay rate sangat lambat. Lepas tu dia punya half life untuk surviving dia tinggi.
So maksudnya kita kena maintain RHC kita dalam bangunan tu berapa persen Puan yang ideal?
Kalau ikut DOSH dia bagi 40 to 70 betul? Kalau you ikut energy 35 to 65, dia plus minus 5 kat situ. Alright.
So kita maintain 40 ke 60 lah Puan
Sebab tu kalau saya suka tengok virus load ni. Virus load, daripada situ you akan nampak decay rate, half-life, survival rate. Sebab tu macam ada setengah-setengah klien, you akan nampak dia minta kita buat sampling sebab dia nak tengok the virus load pre and post disinfection.
Terima kasih Puan, sorry mengganggu.
No worries. Kalau ada soalan you guys just chip in sebab I tak baca message ventilation for virus fight. Yang ini I akan terangkan. One of the thing item number 2 ni, use of UV light. Item number 2 I just nak highlight sebab banyak sangat soalan datang ke I just nak highlight here. Actually WHO pun tak kata you guna UV light ni baik ke buruk ke, but WHO kata kalau you nak guna UV light, you need to implement certain control measure. Contohnya apa? Contohnya satu, you kena make sure that UV light be installed away from the people. Yang kedua, you kena train the personnel dekat site yang you pasang UV light ni. Yang ketiga, mesti ada signage. Mesti ada barricade. Itu saja. WHO tak kata, dia kata jangan pasang UV light. Tak. You boleh pakai UV light. I'm also not saying that UV light tak bagus. For me, certain places, certain places and then certain situation, you need that UV light sebenarnya. The challenge. Satu pasal IAQ ni, I just nak highlight lah. IAQ memang expensive. You cannot lari from it. And it's costly. And sometimes dia tak realistic. Sometimes dia tak practical langsung. So you janganlah marah tiba-tiba ada recommendation kata tukar you punya MERV tu daripada MERV 8 ke MERV 14. Sedangkan you punya AHU punya capacity been designed not for that kan, because you need to do lots of major changes bila you nak tukar you punya filter. So that's why I mentioned sometimes it's not even realistic at all. They do macam I cakap, implement social distancing at all time, limit the number of occupant in area space. Ni memang you kena buat sekarang So kita sendiri as individu, kalau you nampak tempat tu crowded, please don't go in Yang ini actually I ambil daripada DOJ, Kementerian Sumber Manusia punya latest guideline. So dia tulis guidance note on the ventilation, engineering control. Macam mana you nak buat engineering control? You kena increase outside air ventilation tu. That's why dia kata yang 10 liter per second tu tadi. Increase air filtration. Sebab apa? With a good filtration, you can remove the COVID-19 punya virus. Okay. Adjust or reconfigure you punya airflows. Kenapa? Sebab sometimes bila airflow you distribute and move dia laju, the spread of the virus in the indoor air setting tu pun akan cepat. Okay. Yang kedua, administrative control, reduce crowd of occupancy. So katalah kalau sebelum ni that area been designed untuk occupy 40, so sekarang it can only accommodate 20 orang. Okay. Limit the use of small spaces that are shared. Yang ini I rasa bila government kata semua kedai boleh buka, hari Rabu lepas je. Hari Rabu, hari Isnin ni.
Last week kot.
Yeah, all the business boleh buka as normal with a certain SOP. 13 hari bulan itu hari kan? Sorry, semalam.
Baru lagi lah.
Okay.
Dah boleh minum teh tarik lah.
Malam tadi malam tadi I just passed by a steamboat restaurant. Oh my god, there's a lot of people inside without even social distancing. Okay, sebab that is small spaces, it's the shop houses tau. So everybody coming in and sharing the same food, not even having a social distancing, with a ventilation tak ada, only relying on the split unit. Yang ni you kena jaga sikit lah.
Rasanya tanggungjawab kita kot. Sebab sekarang ni kalau kita nak lockdown lagi, saya dapat rasa memang agak susah untuk ekonomi kan, stress. So that's why kalau dalam indoor tu kita buat proper ventilation should be okay kan puan
Saya nak highlight sikit untuk split unit saya akan bagi certain guideline lepas ni. Okay, you all boleh implement kot yang sikit-sikit ni. I faham. It's not easy daripada split unit you nak tukar kepada centralized, and centralized pula you bukan senang nak buka fresh air tu 100%. I know and I understand it well. Okay. Okay, item number 3, reconfigurations of your building spaces and furnishing. Kenapa? You kena guna partition. So bila ada partition, you take extra spaces. So you kena reduce you punya number of people, and you kena reduce you punya risk of transmission untuk minimize airflow between people. That's why I cakap tadi, yang atas tu dia suruh you adjust kan, and reconfigure balik you punya airflow. Sebab apa dia tak nak, kalau you supply, you duduk kat bawah, you having a symptom, you can spread the symptom tu to other person. Okay, kalau you tak control you punya airflow. Cleaning and disinfection, yang ini memang recommend, okay, untuk confirm case dia kata mesti 24 jam. Kalau more than 24 jam, cleaning tu enough. Okay, you tak perlu panggil orang untuk buat disinfection. Okay, that's why kalau dia kata unless there is high index on transmission. High index on transmission bila you tengok close contact dia start to have positive cases. Lepas tu kalau you ada kemampuan untuk buat testing COVID survival tu tadi, macam I tengok, I tunjuk kat you dia ada decay time, okay, dia ada CT load, okay, you can do that. Risk transmission memang kena pakai mask. Okay, I just nak highlight pasal chemical disinfection Actually Kementerian Kesihatan, WHO, they come up with a list of chemical yang sebenarnya what type of chemical that you should use. Okay, tapi I can understand with current economy, everybody goes for cheap things, and then but if you want to go cheap, as my suggestion, you understand what is the active ingredient punya properties, okay, and then you have to look into the application, you have to look into the concentration. Kenapa I mention about these three? Kita pernah handle ada case, okay, dia guna Clorox untuk do the disinfection. This makcik pengsan dekat toilet. Okay. So ni pernah jadi recently, and that is my staff. Okay, I punya cleaner, dia guna Clorox, dia don't even look into the They don't even look into the concentration masa dia bancur. They just watch. At the end of the day, dia sendiri pengsan. Okay. She don't on our exhaust fan. That is another thing. Yeah. That's why I highlight here concentration. Okay. Okay. How many of you bila you all beli chemical disinfection punya material, you tengok the composition? Boleh tak? Anyone can share with me?
Apa puan? Soalan puan?
How many of you? Okay, how many
Tak
of you
pernah,
guys
tak pernah.
tengok harga
Mai
je ya?
beli je.
Okay, mai beli je. Okay, macam ni. I just bagi you the things and tips ya. Bila you nak guna chemical ataupun you as a facilities management punya groups, what you have to look into the active ingredient. This active ingredient is not coming from me. This is coming from Kementerian Kesihatan and also the WHO. So kalau you perasan, okay, hydrogen peroxide dia bagi 0.5%. Okay. Benzochronium chloride 0.05%. Okay, chlorohexanol yang ni 0.1%. Okay, dia semua ni ada concentration. Ethanol 70%. So isopropanol dia kata 50%. Okay, this is all the thing bila you all beli chemical. Okay, tolong check what is the concentration. And then nampak dekat tepi ni contact time. Okay, contact time ni maksud dia bila you guna this chemical, time tu dia mesti basah that surface. So you nampak dekat sini dia ada 1 minute, 10 minutes. Okay. I'm not saying yang paling sikit tu bagus, yang paling banyak tu tak bagus Tapi it can become ineffective bila personal atau individu yang buat the disinfection dekat surface ni, dia tak faham pasal this contact time. Okay. So contact time ni, why it matters for disinfection? So bila you apply disinfection, you need to be sure you really doing the good job. So after keeping all your surface dengan equipment clean, bila you disinfect, you kena cari reliable punya result. So one of the considering factors, bila you guna contact time ni, you nak basahkan dia, you kena tengok based on the manufacturer tu, berapa lama you kena basahkan that surface. That's why tadi tu I ada letak, okay, chemical apa, berapa lama contact time. Okay. Okay, the problem macam I mention tadi, disinfectant punya chemical with long contact time can reduce compliance. Sebab apa? Sometimes individu ni dia tak pandai nak guna, so dia just spray. At the end of the day, the chemical is not effective. Okay, sedangkan dalam lab it been tested, it can goes to 99% kill of the COVID microorganism. Okay ke bab contact time dengan chemical ni?
Okey kau.
Okay.
Adil.
Okay, bila you guna disinfection, check the label. Okay, kena tengok PPE apa yang perlu. Okay, and then you kena tahu bila certain chemical dia require certain ventilation. Dia mungkin suruh you guna dalam natural ventilation. Dia mungkin suruh you guna dalam keadaan where you have to on your exhaust fan. Okay, and then you kena aware what is the potential hazard for each product. I give you an example. If you are handling Clorox, okay, ataupun chlorine base, or you are handling chemical with hydrogen peroxide base, another concern that you should look into is you punya chemical tu skin corrosive. Bila skin corrosive, you have to wear a proper glove, right? And avoid contact with eyes and skin. Okay, macam I mention here. Do not mix different cleaning product. Please remember, chemical can react. Okay, macam I cakap ada yang dia beli chemical yang highly concentration ni daripada supplier A. So dia beli chemical yang quite murah daripada supplier B sebab dia nak efektif. So dia campurkan dua-dua ni. Bila dia campur, benda tu start berasap, semua dia punya fire alarm dah start on in that particular building. So this is the issues bila kita punya end user ni tak faham apa yang dia handle. And then untuk disinfect highly contamination surface, avoid using spray. Sebab apa? dia allow appropriate contact time ya. Kalau you nak guna fogging punya method, you kena tanya manufacturer you. Is it proper? Okay. Kalau dia guna fogging method, what is the chemical that can be released in the air and how long it will take them to settle down? You kena tanya. Okay. Ventilation control, kalau you nampak, yang ini I highlight untuk rumah ya. Untuk rumah, untuk you increase your ventilation, you buka pintu and windows Sebab apa? You nak enhance you punya air exchange. Where applicable, you can use fan untuk promote air circulation but don't make sure fan tu tak pusing around And then use exhaust fan kalau you ada. Okay. Airflow dekat poorly ventilated spaces kena jaga. Allocate space yang bila you ada self quarantine. Okay, kalau nak buat new building sekarang, we need to encourage cross ventilation punya design. Sebab sebelum ni kita tak pernah ada pandemic. We don't go into cross ventilation design ni sangat. But with the pandemic, we have another lesson learned yang kita sebenarnya really need to go into this particular issues. Sebab apa? Certain time the building need to be purged. Okay, certain time we need to control the ventilation rate. Alright. Okay, untuk residential building, macam kat sini. Okay, kalau you nampak tingkap dengan pintu kan. So this is where you punya airflow ni bergerak. And then tingkap dia dekat sebelah kiri ni. So kalau you punya tingkap, sebelah ni ada satu je. Okay. Sebenarnya that area is not good for ventilation punya supply. So you need a mechanical ventilation to help out Okay, kalau you ada dua-dua tingkap, dia dekat dengan each other, you sebenarnya juga tak provide good ventilation and movement throughout the room. Okay. Lagi satu, kalau you ada split unit. Okay, yang ini I nak highlight sikit Kalau you ada split unit, please make sure your split unit is well maintained now. Okay. Sekarang ni masa-masa pandemik, you need to make sure filter, chemical cleaning mesti on time. Okay, sebab kita tak nak benda tu circulate in the split unit system Okay, lagi satu, kalau you punya outdoor tu, especially kalau you dekat high rise building, you are staying in a condominium. Okay, your surrounding is not so good. You are having a lot of contamination daripada industri. Tak payahlah buka tingkap. So you kena option ke you punya portable air purifier. Okay, that's why I said there is no good and bad. Okay, it have to depends on the situation. Okay, office. Okay, kalau office, so make sure HVAC you fully function. Okay, maximize ventilation. Kenapa? You memang kena buka you punya fresh air. Okay, you kena minimize indoor punya recirculation. You kena buat balik balancing. So make sure you punya air movement tu at minimum, bukan at maximum. Okay, and then you kena tukar you punya filter. Okay, kalau you punya premise ada natural ventilation, sebab sekarang ni banyak bangunan yang ada combination. Okay, so bila you ada window you buka. Okay, kalau you tak ada, you install portable exhaust fan. Okay, untuk commercial, okay, kita ada banyak. Antaranya tadi Cik Mazlan dah sebut, upgrade filtration. Kalau WHO dia bagi 14, MERV 14, okay. Tapi kalau kita letak at this particular moment MERV 13 is sufficient. Okay. So lagi satu issues yang you can look into. Okay, kalau you nampak kita ada satu lagi, pre-occupancy purge. Berapa banyak bangunan dekat Malaysia ni kita ada purging system. Kebanyakan bangunan kita tak ada purging system And then kalau nak buat purge, it cost us a bomb. Okay. And one more thing, kalau you tak ada dekat dalam you punya lift, kat pantry, okay, you boleh install portable air purifier and then you punya maintenance and fresh air ni really play the major roles in terms of managing COVID. Okay. I mentioned tadi pasal carbon dioxide kan. Carbon dioxide is actually the indicative chemicals punya parameters for your ventilation rate. So kalau you ada demand controller, okay, bila you punya CO2 tinggi, you kena buka, okay. And then satu lagi, kalau you tak ada controller, you kena buka manually. Okay, kalau sistem you tak ada outdoor air, you kena manually open. Another option that you can help is on you punya toilet exhaust fan at all hours. Okay, you punya filter capacity, kalau you tak boleh tukar filter, you kena opt untuk portable lah. Memang kita tak ada optional sekarang sebab with the business need to running, nak tak nak kita kena find alternative. Another things that you can look into macam mungkin Cik Mazlan, fabric duct boleh basuh ke on periodical basis?
Boleh.
Boleh kan? So
Boleh
that basuh also can kill the microorganism COVID, betul tak?
Betul.
So you can look into your maintenance sebenarnya. Another option that been recommended is purging. Okay, purge ni apa dia buat? Sebelum you start you punya operation, you on your punya system to 100% and then you exhaust out, okay, all the contamination yang sebelum ni. Okay, in and out tu dia akan push out. Bila dia dah push out, baru you boleh on your system macam biasa, baru you boleh allow people to come in. But purging akan ada problem dengan energy. Okay, purging akan ada problem dengan thermal comfort for the first few hours sebelum the occupant masuk. So this is the thing that building owner will face through in terms of the operation dalam masa pandemik ni. Okay, satu cara untuk you tengok whether your IAQ is good or not, as I mentioned, check CO2 and then you look into your fresh air. Kalau you dah tak boleh juga buat, okay, kalau you punya environment tu memang ada industri dan you duduk kat high rise building, okay, you mungkin kena option untuk air purifier, okay. And then kalau you boleh install exhaust fan. Okay, what did I did in my house bila start COVID, because sebelum ni toilet bawah saja yang ada exhaust fan. Toilet atas memang we depends on the windows. So what we do, we install exhaust fan. Okay.
Ada soalan
untuk hotel.
Ada soalan daripada
ada apa dia?
Mr. T dia tanya, how long purging hours tu? Maksudnya berapa lama kita nak purging?
2 jam sebelum operation.
Oh, okay. Mr. T ada tanya how long purging kan? 2 hours lah before. Tak, maksudnya berapa jam tempoh nak purge tu? Maksud 2 hours lah apa ni?
2 hours before. Yes, 2 hours before.
Okay, so hope can answer Mr. T punya question lah in the comment tu. Okay, Puan, continue. Untuk
hotel pula, okay. Kalau you terpaksa menggunakan hotel untuk quarantine, okay, you cari hotel yang ada tingkap, okay. Sebab apa? Kalau you tak ada tingkap, bila you kena quarantine, you going to face problem. Sebab you will find you suffocated duduk dalam and you tak ada proper enhancement on the ventilations. Kalau you punya aircon centralized, so macam I cakap tadi, you kena tengok capability on the temperature dengan humidity tu tadi, sebab I dah show you the data. At what temperature, at which humidity dia can survive, okay. And untuk building owner and facilities manager, if your hotel being used as the COVID-19 punya quarantine, okay, biasanya I rasa sekarang ni offshore pun banyak guna hotel kan, and then oil and gas juga banyak guna hotel. You got to look into your filter. So kalau boleh invest a bit untuk you tukar you punya filter, okay, seboleh-bolehnya I think MERV 14. Cuma MERV 14 ni you kena tengok balik you punya fan capacity, you punya AHU, okay, all of this and check back your airflow from the system. That's why balancing kena buat balik. Okay, untuk food and beverage, okay, and enclosed dining facilities, okay, dining table ni kalau boleh lah letak kat luar instead of kat dalam. Kenapa? Bila dining table ni kat luar, remember we are relying on the natural ventilation instead of the mechanical ventilations. Okay, If possible, you cari external window and then you consider, kalau you tak boleh juga nak letak meja you kat luar, you consider to install HEPA filter. Okay, ataupun you portable air purifier. I think sekarang banyak sangat dekat industri ataupun dekat market. Cuma be careful, as I mentioned, each of the air purifier they have a specification which is called as CADR. Okay, dalam CADR ni dia ada contoh certain air purifier berapa capacity area yang dia boleh supply. So you have to look into berapa besar size you, berapa banyak air purifier you required. Okay. And then arrange seating ni to comply dengan minimum occupancy. Okay. And then you kena make sure dia jauh daripada supply air. Okay. Ataupun fan coil unit. That's why bila kita kata rearrangement, you need to rearrange your furniture back to ensure the contamination or the transmission tu being avoid. Okay. Ada soalan tak dekat ni? Food and beverage ni.
Ada yang nak bertanya soalan ke berkenaan dengan restoran ataupun kat rumah ni Puan
Ini kat restoran.
Restoran lah.
Dine in. Sekarang kan kita ada banyak dine in. Kalau tak ada, I go next.
Okay.
Okay, limitation. Filter efficiency, kenapa? Macam you punya filter yang existing, yang biasa untuk commercial building yang biasa, dia tak meet the MERV 14 dengan MERV 13. So that's why you kena look into your size of particles. Then location on the filter dekat dalam HVAC room tu, and you punya air cleaner punya issues juga. Sebab sometimes kalau you punya HVAC tu macam I cakap, fresh air intake you dekat dengan kapak. Kalau you pakai MERV 14 lagilah, you tak boleh nak survive kan. Sebab you punya lifespan of the filter tu lagi short. Okay. So kalau you pakai UVGI, macam saya cakap tadi, you need proper training, safety precaution and placing of warning stickers kat mana UVGI tu being located. I letak ni sebab apa tahu? Terlampau banyak soalan dekat I, hantar kat email. Okay. Setiap kali I bagi tahu, Puan kami nak pakai UVGI. Sure, pakai. I kata, but you need to make sure all your personnel, all your individu are well trained. Where is this located? How to handle? Is it barricade? Is it properly enclosed? Okay, all the safety precaution have to be there. And then airflow rate tu through filter, sebab apa? Kadang-kadang kita tak nak dia backflow. Sebab MERV 14 ni dia terlampau halus yang dia boleh filter the air, particles tu. Okay, so bila terlampau halus, you kena tengok capacity of fan you. Okay, location on the HVAC room ataupun air purifier. Satu lagi issues, kalau you pakai portable air purifier, please make sure kalau you pakai portable air purifier, at least dia duduk dekat you punya waist level, bukan dekat you punya lutut Because if you put up your air purifier dekat lutut punya level, it doesn't help you to decontaminate you punya udara. Okay. Location of fresh air, kenapa? Macam saya cakap, contoh you are staying in the condominium, you buka tingkap, tapi orang sebelah you pun facing you tu memang ada issues on the COVID. So no point juga you buka tingkap. Okay, so that's why dia kata location of fresh air, ambient air quality, building type and function. Kenapa? High rise requirement dia lain, low rise requirement dia lain, shop lot bila you pakai split unit requirement dia lain. And another thing that you look into is the occupant activities. Macam sekarang, another issue that my worries is the disinfection. Okay, remember this, macam saya kata, ramai yang cakap, oh Puan saya tengok harga, but you have to look into bila you pakai chemicals, you generating and introduce another contamination in the air. Once you introduce the contamination in the air, how you going to make sure it being pushed out from your system? Okay, conclusion, so dalam indoor air space, enough ventilation is required to prevent virus to spread. Opening window is effective. Split unit aircon does not serve as a ventilation. Okay, they only can help out on terms of the thermal comfort. Right? Area with the central mechanical ventilation, you kena calculate balik your ventilation and fresh air. Macam saya cakap, check balik your airflow. Make sure you minimize setiap satu diffuser tu, you tak boleh letak dia full blow. There's a few requirements sebab kita nak control the transmissions of the COVID. Okay. minimize the number of occupant, and then kalau as the individual, you shorten the time in the closed building, you open fresh air damper, check balik filter maintenance, and then AHU cleanings. Okay, this is all from me. Boleh ke I nak share what is the supplier give us when they do these chemicals? Okay, boleh ke?
Boleh.
Ke ada soalan?
Boleh.
Ada soalan ke I entertain soalan dulu boleh?
Boleh juga. Okay, so sekarang
Ah.
kita buka untuk tuan-tuan, kalau ada masalah ke kat pejabat ke, nak buat macam mana tak tahu ke, boleh bertanyalah kepada Puan Siti sebagai IAQ assessor lah. So ada yang nak tanya soalan boleh buka mic. Ada ke?
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Silakan tuan.
Saya Nasrul, Puan Siti. Nak tanya mengenai pasal air purifier tu.
Ya.
Requirement tadi saya terdengar dia punya tu kalau letak bawah lutut memang tak function ke ataupun lebih tinggi daripada dia punya location tu air purifier punya tu. Itu
Okey macam ni. Sebab sekarang ni banyak jenis air purifier, betul tak Cik Lumai?
Betul.
Cik Lumai.
Cik Nas-
Okey. Cik Nasrul, sorry. Sorry ya. Okay, bila dia terlampau banyak jenis air purifier, so make sure air purifier tu bukan dia yang level setakat paras lutut you. Remember this dalam konsep of air, hot air naik atas, cold air duduk bawah. Bila cold air duduk bawah tadi, nampak tak temperature dengan RH yang I share dekat you tadi? So lagi dia sejuk, lagi survival of microorganism tu bertahan lama. So kalau you punya air purifier tu dekat paras lutut, you rasa dekat mana you punya breathing zone? Sebab breathing zone kita ni dekat atas pinggang ke atas. So it won't be effective sebenarnya.
So better atas lah. Okay.
Yes. So at least you install dia at least dekat paras pinggang. So dia bukan betul-betul kat bawah lutut tu. Sebab banyak saya tengok yang kecil-kecil ni kan. Hello?
Betul. Okay, teruskan.
Kalau dia yang kecil-kecil ni dia letak dekat bawah lutut, sebab apa saya buat, bila saya buat sampling kan, saya akan nampak okay, those that breathing zone berapa dia punya microorganism count. Kalau dekat paras lutut tu yang berapa meter daripada lantai tu berapa dia punya microbial count. So we knows where is the effective point, kat mana you nak letak you punya air purifier.
So maksudnya Puan nak install level mana, saya pun tak tahu. Apa? Tadi level mana? Level tinggi.
At least dia at least dekat waist level. Dekat paras pinggang you dah okey lah. Yes.
Paras pinggang lah. Okey.
Minimum paras pinggang lah. Kalau lebih tinggi daripada tu, dia punya tu okey, lagi better lah. Betul Puan Siti?
Yeah. Yes. Tapi bukan dekat atas daripada you punya shoulder level.
Terlalu tinggi ya.
Itu maksimum lah. Shoulder maksimum and then ping.
Dia mesti sitting level tuan.
Betul.
Tuan, dia mesti sitting level. Kenapa I cakap pasal sitting level? Sebab tu paras pinggang. Sebab bila you sitting level, bila you duduk, that is your breathing zone, betul tak? Okay.
Puan, ada soalan lagi dekat chat ni. Ada Cik Muhammad Irfan Fauzul tanya ni. Puan ada tanya, Puan berapa minimum MERV requirement untuk air filter?
Sekarang ni dia bagi 13. 13, MERV 13.
Okay.
Okay, pada yang tak pernah dengar pasal MERV ya. MERV ni is a differentiation of the particle size yang dia boleh filter out. Okay. So lagi tinggi MERV tu lagi bagus sebenarnya.
And then ada soalan daripada Radicate Kelantan ni. Is the right, Puan boleh nampak tak kat ruangan chat tu dia ada tanya.
Is that right that we should use intake air or supply fan instead of using exhaust fan in our office or house, which is use of air conditioning unit? Okay. Kalau you ada split unit, you baiknya letaklah exhaust fan. Okay. Sebab kat mana you nak dapat supply? Melainkan you boleh tapping daripada existing system tuan. Kalau you dekat rumah, you punya supply relying dengan you punya windows, dengan you punya outdoor. Betul tak? Ke saya ni?
Betul lah. Kita harapkan apa
Ah.
celah-celah tingkap dengan celah pintu lah kan.
Ya.
Ventilation,
Itulah.
infiltration.
So kalau dekat office you memang ada existing ducting system yang you boleh tapping fresh air, is okay. Tapi kalau you tak ada, kalau dalam aircon room tu pakai je lah exhaust fan. Okay.
So ada lagi
Anything
ke
that
yang
I can help?
ada lagi tak yang nak bertanya soalan? Ada tu. Mr. T. Portable HEPA filter air purifier okey tak? Portable HEPA
Okay.
filter.
Okay, bukan tak okay macam I cakap. Tapi look on the CADR. Sebab apa? CADR ni dia ada capability. Setiap portable air purifier, dia akan bagi tahu berapa meter square sahaja yang dia boleh serve. So you have to look into your area space. Daripada situ you calculate balik based on the area capacity, berapa you punya air purifier yang you required.
So apa clean air delivery rate CADR tu.
Yes,
Air flow
CADR. Yes. Clean air delivery rate tu. That's why I banyak kali cakap nak beli air purifier, HEPA belilah. I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's no, but look into your CADR.
So ada lagi kan nak tanya soalan? Kalau tak buat ada tu Cik Juraisan
Hey Cik Juraisan, how are you? Long time no see.
Ya. Okay. Okay, saja nak tanya apa ni, how do we measure the presence of this COVID virus in our state? Apa?
In the air ke Cik Juraisan?
The room lah.
The room. Okay, basically that's a few methods. Okay, whether you nak guna impingement method, whether you nak guna impactor method ataupun you nak boleh guna swab. Tapi saya tak suka guna swab method sebab swab method ni dia ada present and absent saja. Saya akan guna impingement method daripada air because I got the machine. So I akan trap dia dekat dalam the impinger tu, ada media dia. Daripada situ kita measure the CT load tu. So saya boleh quantify kan.
Measurement tu di Malaysia dia punya microbe ke atau boleh confirm yang benda tu COVID-19 tu?
Dia boleh confirm COVID-19 tuan sebenarnya.
Dia boleh confirm ya?
Yes, sebab tu you need to use the proper method and you need to use the proper media.
So apa dia bilang? Boleh ulang tadi? Apa probe nama dia? Dia punya probe tu dia punya testing testing probe.
Okay, you boleh guna impinger ataupun impactor method kalau you nak quantify lah. Kalau you nak buat qualitative, is only present and absent, you guna swab method tu.
Swab method lah. Tapi swab
tapi
method
swab
on the
method
surface
sebenarnya,
only kan? Swab
Yes.
method untuk surface saja. Kalau untuk airborne memang kita nak trace kan? Untuk yang swab
Yes,
tu.
memang you punya ada special equipment.
So let's say katalah kontraktor kan, dalam ni mungkin ramai kontraktor kan, dia nak macam propose pada klien kan, so untuk tunjukkan something untuk to improve the ventilation ke apa kan. Macam mana dia orang nak ambil macam data, macam pergi check something, bawa macam meter ke habuk kan, berapa PM25 ke apa, ada tak tool yang terbaik untuk macam kita nak measure kat klien, ni masjid ni teruk ni dia punya ni, ataupun office ni teruk ni dia punya ni, so kena do something untuk dia punya ventilation. Ada tak alat yang macam kita boleh guna untuk just show pada show pada building owner kan? Boleh boleh. Yang simple.
You boleh guna PM 2.5 ataupun you boleh guna tadi tu CO2 meter, hot wire anemometer.
Banyak alat tu. Hot wire nak ambil Malaysia city pula kan.
Banyak.
So ada soalan lagi daripada KK Pang ni, daripada IMZ ke salah saya ni. Mitsubishi IMZ ni, puan, since the pandemic the requirement of air change has increased, how you make a balance between the energy use and the CFM requirement, especially green building. Dia tanya pasal apa? Energy puan.
Okay, Mr. Pang, I have a same argument with hospital last week. Alright. Okay, I have to tell you the truth. If you want to go for IAQ, it's very hard for you to meet the energy issues. Macam saya cakap tadi, even the purging requirement kan, it will cause a load on the energy sebenarnya. So we cannot get dua-dua. You have to choose either one, whether you want to go for energy, whether you want to maintain your IAQ now.
But Puan recently memang DOS memang ada ban 100% ke yang heat recovery wheel tu? Memang
Tak
DOS
ada,
dah
DOS tak ada
keluarkan ke
ban.
belum? Tak ada ban lah.
DOS tak ada ban, cuma DOS cakap kalau you ada DCV, demand control ventilation, okay, you have to shut it off and you have to retain at certain daripada dia detector sebab kita nak maintain dia punya air movement tu saja.
So sekarang ni memang dah tak boleh nak guna lah ini heat recovery wheel tu ke macam mana Puan?
Boleh. You boleh guna tapi you kena letak additional control punya measures pula.
Sebab dia berpusing kan. Ada satu lagi dia panggil heat reclaim ventilation, dia cross ventilation ni, dia tak bercampur. Yang tu macam mana Puan? Yang heat reclaim tu.
Heat reclaim ni I have to be honest dengan you guys lah. I nampak heat reclaim ni dekat certain area yang macam office with minimum number of occupancy. I tak pernah lagi test heat reclaim yang dia guna maximum number of occupancy. So I cannot answer you in terms of that. Cuma I can tell you this, dalam heat reclaim dekat low number of occupancy, biasanya bacteria count dia memang bagus. And humidity dia memang bagus.
So kalau maksudnya dia introduce more fresh air kot kan, mesti dia punya ventilation dia bagus kan.
That's why I cakap sebab and then lagi satu dekat situ ada juga co-founding factor where the number of occupant tak ramai tuan.
Okay. So ada lagi ke yang nak bertanya soalan? Ada yang nak buka mic tanya?
Satu soalan lagi Puan.
Ya.
Okay, list of the chemical tadi tu. Kalau ada supplier yang supply yang nanotech solution. Itu how effective when the knowledge how effective is nanotech solution in all this.
Okay, I don't mind macam cakap lah apa-apa saja chemical yang you all guna, be careful. You kena tanya satu macam I cakap tadi, you punya drying time tu, okay? Dia punya time tu, berapa dia punya effective time, okay? Tu satu. Yang kedua, untuk coating punya industri, you have to ask them what is dia orang punya result on the microbial trial test, MTT dia panggil. Kalau MTT dia show, they can reduce the microorganism and they can reduce certain specific microorganism macam sekarang COVID-19 in the air, untuk dia punya biological half-life tu dia makin menurun, why not? Tapi kalau dia tak boleh show to you dia punya MTT, that's the problem sebenarnya. Sebab you nanti nak jawab to end user.
Okay, alright. And then another question, apa ni? Recently KKM ada keluar yang melakukan spray gun ni. Yang kita spray mostly kat rumah ni. It's not effective. Boleh komen sikit?
Dia tak, tuan, dia jadi tak efektif sebab chemical tu. Bukan sebab dia spray gun tu.
Chemical lah.
Dia chemical yang dia guna tu. Sebab sometimes orang nak murah kan. So dia tak tengok macam saya cakap tadi I ada bagi kan list of chemical berapa dia punya concentration baru dia effective to kill the microorganism sebenarnya. Sebab bila kita buat chemical, kita sebenarnya dah buat study. Kita bukan simply buat you guna chemical ni. Tak, sebab certain microorganism dia can mutate and actually dia boleh recover balik kalau you bagi chemical tu sama je dose dia at one time, and then sometimes the composition tu sebenarnya tak boleh bunuh pun that microorganism. That's why dia panggil active ingredient tu tadi.
Lagi maknanya not because of the spray gun, because of the report is confusing.
Ya, dia banyak co-founding factor tu. Lagi satu spray gun tu be careful ya, sebab dia ada UV light kan. Saya tengok sekarang bila budak-budak pun dibagi untuk handle the spray gun ya. Be careful, takut kena mata. Okay.
Thank you.
Cik Juraizan, you got my number kan?
Okay.
Boleh je contact I.
So siapa-siapa mungkin Puan boleh letakkan nombor Puan kan, kalau siapa yang perlukan khidmat untuk indoor quality kan, mungkin Puan boleh letakkan nombor.
Ada ni tuan.
Tu kat depan dah ada dah. Okey, tak perasan. Okey. Okay Puan, ada soalan daripada Mr. Teh lagi ni. For heat wheel, if we use MERV 14 for the return or exhaust air, okay tak dia punya? Kalau IAQ use UV system and MERV 14 filter only? So dalam ruangan check tu Puan. Sufficient nak ready tak?
Mr. Teh, Mr.
Yang
Teh,
bawah sekali.
what is your capacity of your room? What is your capacity of your area space? That's one thing I need to know. Boleh email I kot. Bagi I drawing. I help you to calculate.
Terus doktor terus
Ha.
bagi ni kan.
I help you to calculate. Boleh Mr. Teh? Sebab if you give me like this, nanti takut I salah bagi you information.
So siapa-siapa yang nak ni boleh tanya terus lah pada Puan Siti. Tadi Puan Siti nak share slide apa tadi? Mungkin boleh terus jalan dulu ke?
Oh tak, I just nak share sebenarnya bila you all beli chemical, okay. Kalau you nampak ni kan, this chemical, biasanya dia akan bagi dia punya product range, okay. Dia punya produk, dia punya advantage, biasanya you minta benda ni daripada you punya siapa? Supplier ni, okay. Then dia akan bagi you macam mana you nak guna. Okay, and then storage tu macam mana, you nampak dia ada letak requirement on the storage, dia punya price, lepas tu dia punya safety data sheet ni, you nampak kan dekat safety data sheet ni tadi I tulis active ingredient. Ni ha. So you check dia punya active ingredient. Kalau active ingredient dia ada and meet that requirement yang I bagi dekat you all tu tadi, guna. Kalau tidak, you pilihlah chemical lain. Because nanti you nak menjawab tu panjang cerita. Okay? Itu je sebenarnya I nak tunjuk what your supplier should give you. Dia punya konsep. Macam ni dia bagi result of dia orang punya microbial trial test kan. Ni sebelum tau dia buat. And then ni selepas. You can see sebenarnya dia punya effectiveness ni macam mana. Okay. And then dia punya PPE, dia akan bagi dekat you apa requirement PPE you. Sepatutnya supplier kena bagi benda tu kat you all.
Beli kat Lazada. Ada yang beli kat Lazada.
Beli kat Lazada. Aduh, tak apa. Beli kat Lazada pun biasa kalau ada setengah supplier dia bagus kan. Dia hantar kat you safety data sheet tu.
Okay, ada lagi yang nak bertanyakan soalan kepada Puan Siti? Ada lagi ke? Ada ke yang nak buka mic? Tak ada Okay, so kalau ada apa-apa lagi ke Puan untuk sharing?
Tak ada. On my side, yang kurang tu datang daripada diri saya. Yang baik tu datang daripada Allah. Kalau there's a lot of things that I need to improve and I need to learn from you guys also. I pun belajar juga daripada Cik Mazlan, Prihoda team, the fabric, how was it and all those things. Okay, I belajar juga daripada Richard and all those. Some of you here actually kenal I sebenarnya. I juga banyak belajar dekat industri rather than just doing theory. Thank you so much. Kalau ada apa-apa yang we can help the nation together, why not? Right?
Okay lah
All
Puan,
the best, stay safe.
sebelum Puan berakhir tu, kita nak bagi macam at least kalau kita keluar daripada webinar hari ni, kita at least kita can do something which is not too expensive kan. So kalau katalah Puan kata untuk pejabat kan, so apa yang Puan rasa yang paling penting lah untuk daripada kita masuk office, pejabat, restoran kan, ada tak satu perkara yang Puan rasa yang paling mandatory kena ada lah senang kata? Apa dia, sama ada apa-apalah yang Puan rasa penting sangat lah.
Dari segi individu ke daripada segi owner?
Building owner ke, mungkin individu ke kan, small business ke kan. Macam mana kalau untuk yang
I tahu it's not easy. It's not easy untuk kita. Dah 2 tahun kan as a building owner, as a business, kita semua memang I rasa habis lah kita punya profit and loss semua kan. But look into this in a bright way kan. There's always a light in the tunnel kan. So look into this. As a building owner, kalau you all boleh prove that we maintain the safety and health for the public, orang pun confident nak masuk dekat kita punya facilities. Okay, what you can do now, increase your maintenance. Increase your frequency of maintenance. You nak adjust semua tu is not easy. Trust me, I see lots of buildings. Macam I cakap, I dah buat 600 bangunan to date. And 100 tu memang I ambil my case study for my PhD. So I know it's not easy to adjust the HVAC.
Expensive
Yes, it's expensive. So what you can do and help is doing your regular maintenance properly and train your personnel. I just nak share dengan you lah. The most disappointment to me bila I masuk, technician tutup fresh air intake. 100% fresh air intake langsung tak ada. So please check balik you punya sistem. Benda tu you boleh buat. You masuk, you check. Where is your fresh air? Buka your fresh air now. Reset balik you punya thermostat. Itu benda pertama yang you boleh buat. And as a individu mesti ada awareness. Mesti you tengok kalau orang tu tulis kat depan tu minimum 5, janganlah you bergaduh dengan tokek kedai tu pula. Sabarlah sikit. Lepas tu pakailah face mask. Kan I pernah tengok orang bergaduh kat depan, la ilaha illallah I cakap. So that's not good. Okay, kita kena ada toleration between each other kan. So orang kedai tu pun nak jaga, nanti kena saman. Nanti kalau you sakit dia pun kena juga. Okay.
Okay Puan, so terima kasih atas penerangan yang cukup jelas, panjang lebar berkenaan dengan isu ventilation COVID ni. Tadi saya nampak macam ada wakil komiti DOS dalam ni tadi. Saya tak tahu ada tak lagi. Ada ke nak bercakap sepatah dua kata? Cik IR Zailani tadi. Saya nampak ada tadi. Tak ada dah. Tak ada, tak apa. Cik Nazal ni ada nak bagi tahu sepatah dua kata ke tuan? Sementara tuan
tak apa. Okey.
So macam mana penerangan Puan Siti tadi? Okey tak bercanggah dengan DOS
Okey.
Okey Okey. Nanti mungkin kita ada masa kita boleh jemput tuan pula untuk bagi talk pada semua dalam ni Cik Zalini, IR Zalini daripada salah satu komiti DOS yang keluarkan guideline untuk COVID ni Terima kasih tuan Cik Zalini kena join. Dan juga terima kasih pada Puan Siti, Hamimah daripada ERALab. Puan mungkin boleh share balik, tadi ada yang minta contact number lah Puan. Tadi ada yang minta contact number Puan, so Puan tolong share jap betul dia punya contact number. So ada yang minta nombor kontak Puan tadi. So siapa-siapa yang nak tanya berkenaan dengan Puan Siti, salah satu indoor air quality assessor, siapa-siapa perlukan khidmat beliau boleh hubungi teruslah ya. Dia punya ni boleh buat testing, nak buat apa boleh inilah. Hari ni dia bagi talk percuma sajalah. Sebab selalu ni kena bayar So kita mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada semua yang join pada hari ini. Alhamdulillah ramai hari ni, 100 lebih Kita pun tak sangka hari ni mungkin ramai yang nak belajar tentang COVID ni bahaya So kita sama-sama banteras lah. So kalau macam kita boleh bagi kesedaran kepada building owner, kalau tuan-tuan sebagai pekerja mungkin boleh bagi tahu building owner kot, bagi tahu improvekan paling minimum saya tengok daripada DOS requirement. DOS ada bagi paling kurang pun MERV 13 kalau tak salah saya Cik Ayah Zalani so MERV 13 and then paling kurang pun kena ada 20 cfm. Dia ada lagi requirement lain yang daripada DOS ada bagi guideline lah. So harap kita boleh follow untuk sama-sama kita mengurangkan kadar jangkitan kadar jangkitan COVID di negara kita ni lah. Bukan sikit kes bukan naik bukan makin turun kerajaan buka ni semua kita dah vaksin dah mencapai almost 100% kan. Sebab tu kerajaan lepas Okey, so terima kasih sekali lagi. Kita jumpa pada masa yang akan datang. So boleh follow kita punya Facebook Perioda Malaysia, boleh follow kita punya YouTube channel. Kemungkinan recording daripada program ni kita akan masukkan ke dalam YouTube channel lah. Okey. So kita jumpa lagi. Terima kasih Puan Ya nak tanya lagi
Cik Mazlan.
Boleh
I just nak highlight here, I bercuti daripada jadi assessor tau. Sebab I sebenarnya tengah cuti belajar.
Ya ke? Tak sempat lah. Tak apa.
Tapi my team ada. All my subordinate memang ada.
Okay.
So boleh je contact I bagi you all number contact dia orang.
Boleh, nanti Puan boleh channelkan lah kepada IAQ assessor yang available kan. Okay.
Boleh.
Okay, alright. Terima kasih semua So ada ke nak bercakap ke? Tak ada ke? Tak ada So tak ada. Sorry, kita sudahi dengan wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Okay, jumpa lagi. Assalamualaikum. Bye bye.
Salam.
Kena bergambar kejap. Jangan lari dulu. Nak bergambar dulu Aris, tolong ambil gambar Aris. Aris, tolong screenshot kalau kita nak bergambar lah, boleh buka kamera lah, mana yang tak malu lah. Yang segan-segan tak apalah. So siapa yang nak ambil bergambar, kita boleh buka mic, boleh buka kamera mic pula. Boleh ambil, kita nak screenshot sebagai kenang-kenangan lah. Okay. So Puan boleh stop share dulu Puan slide. Puan Siti, kalau Puan stop slide baru kita nampak full kan, nampak full gambar. Okay, nampak semua dah. So Haris, minta tolong Haris, tolong screenshot Tolong screenshot gambar ramai-ramai ni, okay. Okay. So okay Haris, cepat Haris. 1, 2, 3 Haris. Ramai ni kawan-kawan saya ni. 1, 2, 3. Ada 6 ramai. Cik Nur Hisham pun ada. Okay. Alright. 1, 2, 3. Okay, cukup Aris Alright. Okay. Jumpa lagi. Assalamualaikum. Bye-bye semua. Terima kasih join.
Ya, terima kasih.
Sama. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih Cik Mazlan, Puan Siti.
Jaga diri baik-baik.
Terima kasih Amy.
Thank you.
Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum.
Salam.
Terima kasih.